G'day trainers and welcome back to another Pokemon Horizons episode review. Tonight's episode was episode 8, The Secret of the Unopened Door. Of course, we're talking about Dot's door, Nidothing's door. By the way, if you didn't watch last episode or the last review, spoiler alert, but Dot's Nidothing, Dot is Murdoch's niece, and Dot lives on the Bravasagi. Yeah. Exciting stuff. We have just a very quick opening this episode, and we're seeing something a little bit suspicious. Our boy Freed, Captain Pikachu, and Murdoch are skulking around in the Bravasagi in the middle of the night. But why? They're talking about not wanting to be caught, sleuthing around like common criminals. Are they a part of the explorers? No, they're not. They are interrupted by Roy. That's it, man. They're interrupted by Roy. Roy is like sleepwalking. I don't know what that boy's doing, walking around the halls in the middle of the night with his Hogator, but he's there. Don't think he sees anything though, because Freed opens up the door and he's like, "Oi." I don't know Japanese. "What are you doing? Go to bed." And Freud's like, "All right, I'll go to bed then. I guess I'll go to bed." He goes to bed. They come back, and you know what the big secret was that they were looking for? The thing that they were sleuthing around. I'm liking the word sleuth. It's fun. They were sleuthing around about. Well, Murdoch was making donuts. Yeah, that was it. That was 100% it. Murdoch was making some donuts, and Freed and Murdoch were eating some. They just didn't want to share with the rest of the crew. And you know what happened right after this? We got the intro. Right after the intro, we've cut to the very next morning, though. Their crew are having breakfast, and I guess there's one seat that's empty. Of course, it's Dot's. I know we've only learned about Dot in the last episode, but it means there's always been an empty seat. Weird that nobody's brought it up yet, especially Liko. She's pretty switched on. It's weird, but it turns out Dot, or Nidothing, isn't a big fan of food, something Roy just cannot comprehend. He doesn't understand that there could be anybody on this planet that doesn't enjoy food. And you know what, my dude? I resonate with that. I resonate a bit too much with that. And apparently she's got gummies. Just some gummies, little gummy bears that have an entire day's worth of nutrients in them, which is kind of cool. Like that's pretty cool. An entire day's nutrients in a gummy. It's kind of like very sci-fi-ish, right? You see it like eat a gummy, stay full, like a sensu bean. Dude, sensu beans are cool. Except sensu beans are meant to keep you full for like 3 months or something. I doubt this one keeps you full for 3 months. Once they finished eating though, the ladies of the crew noticed something. They're missing ingredients. They're missing flour, sugar, moo milk, and I think it was sugar or icing. Is it just me, or does that sound like the ingredients you would use to make donuts? It was. Murdoch tried to play it off and be like, I wonder where that could have gone. The ladies know what's up. They're not falling for Murdoch's little tricks. They know he's been taking it. Our boy though, Professor Freed, comes to Murdoch's defense. He's like, whoa. Let's not jump to conclusions and start pointing fingers. And that's all the ladies needed. They knew he was in on it too. And they're not letting him get away with that crap at all. Now, obviously they've started to run low on provisions and they don't want to run out. Apparently they just don't want to run out of sweets before they reach Paldea, which, you know, I can respect that. You've got a sweet tooth. You've got to keep control of that sweet tooth. And the best way to do it, eat sweet things. Don't listen to me, otherwise you'll end up weighing more than I do, and that's not good. Still weigh less than a Snorlax though, so let's just move on. The crew decide they've got to go shopping. It seems there is a town coming up. We don't get the name of it. We have no idea where we are. We have no idea if we're still in Kanto. We genuinely have no idea in the world where we are. I would say Kanto because we do see some of the Pokemon there when we land, and they do seem to only be Kanto. That's not true. No. There was a Darumaka. Most of them seem to be Kantonian Pokemon. So who knows? Who really knows? They probably aren't going to release that sort of thing to us because ultimately it doesn't matter. It's just people like myself. I want to know, and I'm sure some of you do as well. So they decide they need to start the landing. They need to begin the landing. And as they're doing that though, something's got to happen first. It is time for Liko and Roy to attend class. Now, Liko decides to take class in her bedroom because she just seems like a tidy person that's going to take it in a place where she can focus. I got to respect that. I need to be somewhere I can focus or I can't do my work. That right there, that's where I do my work. Like, that's my actual job. In front of me, this is Play and YouTube. TV, PlayStation 5, a lot right there. This is not an ideal place for me to be working. It is really bad. It is full of distractions. So you know what, Liko? I respect that, man. You know you're going to be distracted and you work to it. So you keep yourself in your room where you can stay focused. Much respect. Roy, on the other hand, we saw back on the island, he just walked throughout the forest. He'd go to his little secret hideout. He'd handle classes absolutely anywhere, which is cool. Again, respect it. But he takes class out on the wing deck of the Brave Asagi for two reasons. One, he says it's the best view on the ship. And you know what? He's probably not wrong. The second, though, he was hoping to find the black Rayquaza or the shiny Rayquaza. Unfortunately, Freed comes out later. And when Roy tells him, he's like, look, man, look up. He's like, no, look further up. Still not enough, buddy. Look even further up. You're still not looking up high enough because Rayquaza, they fly in like the upper atmosphere, like the stratosphere, I think the direct translation was. So you're not going to see him. With Liko back in class, though, we get to see good old Anne. Do you guys remember Anne? She was Liko's roommate in episode 1. The really over-the-top girl. I liked her. She was great. But she was back for a little bit, and they were both talking about how Needlethang has got an upcoming live stream. Apparently, she doesn't do them very often. So we end up landing at this unnamed city, in this unnamed region, in this unknown area of the Pokemon world, and it turns out that the Rising Volt Tacklers have got a little bit of a tradition to see who stays behind with the ship. They're playing a little Junkan Po, or Paper, Scissors, Rock, to see who stays. The loser has to stay with the ship and handle pretty much the domestic chores. And unfortunately for Roy, he picks paper when everyone else picks rock? Or everyone else picks rock and he picks scissors? Whatever it was, he picked the losing one. He begs Liko to stay. He tries everything he can do to convince Liko to change spots with him so he can go. He wants to go out and ask questions about Rayquaza. He wants to see if anyone has seen it. And he's willing to give Liko a little bit of a secret. He's learned a secret and he's willing to trade it if Liko is willing to trade spots with him. Of course, in Liko fashion, with everything we have come to know and love about this young lady, she doesn't even really want to go. She wants to stay because she wants to catch this Nidothing stream, but she's not going to let on that easily. She's going to milk this for all it's worth. She's going to make him beg. I love it. Work it, girl. That's power right there. She has something, you have something he wants, use it to your advantage. So he made her bet, she made him beg, and she got the secret. And then Roy got to go exploring. So while the rest of the crew are out shopping, Liko's back on board and she's taken these duties seriously. She's feeding all of the Pokemon, that's even including feeding all the trash into a Alolan Muck's mouth, which is kind of gross, but you know what? Who am I to judge? Not only that, she's scrubbing the deck like a good old air pirate. She did a few more things. What else did she do? She fed the Pokemon, she scrubbed the deck, she did the laundry. She did everybody's laundry. Murdoch's a big boy. He is a lot of dairy. I hope he's washing his own underwear. Speaking as a big boy who eats dairy, who shouldn't be eating dairy. No, I'm joking. I'm sure it was fine. I'm sure they were pre-soaked. I'm sure they will take care of their own underwear. For Liko's sake, I hope. Oh gosh. We find out what the secret was that Roy offered Liko. And apparently the other night, or last night, he did see that they were doing something with a secret cupboard. And he's like, Liko, Freed and Murdoch, they've got a secret cupboard nobody knows about. That's what you need to look for. So once she was done, she sneaks into the kitchen. And by the way, she picked it out. As soon as she told him, she's like, of course. They've been smuggling and eating sweets and this is where they're hiding it. So she goes to have a look. And then she's ambushed. Yeah, she's ambushed. There's an Alcremie inside, and she gets covered in cream, and it's just not a good time though. However, after she gets all cleaned up, she receives a phone call from Murdoch, and of course, again, anime fashion, Liko fashion. She's like, I'm so sorry, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. And Murdoch's like, what? What are you talking about? That's not his accent. What are you talking about? And she's like, nothing. Murdoch's like, I just wanted to let you know, there's some boxed lunches waiting for you guys. He made him lunch. He's a good bloke. I like Murdoch. So Ludlow shows up, Liko shows up, but there's a third lunchbox. Who could it be? No one's surprised. No one's surprised at all, man. It belongs to, of course, Dot. And Liko's like, oh, would Dot appreciate it if I took her this food? And Ludlow's like, yeah, sure. Murdoch's a good cook. Why wouldn't she appreciate it? She's like, done. I'm going to take it to her. So she makes her way down to where Dot's room is. And she starts knocking on the door, just a bit of... And no answer. No answer at all. Until she starts... No. What happened? There was no answer. She decides to walk away, but Sprigatito pops open a little pokey flap, a phrase I really sincerely hope does not become a trend on this channel because it's a disgusting phrase. It makes me uncomfortable. The way some people feel about moist is how I now feel about pokey flap. Probably worse. But as Sprigatito, or Nyauha, does this, you can hear the Nido Thing theme music. So she's like, oh, there it is again, the Nido Thing music. And she calls out, she's like, are you a fan? Dot, I'm a really big fan of Nido Thing as well. And then all you hear was, shut up. Dot just starts yelling at Liko, telling her to shut her mouth and to go away. It was really, really rude, man. Like, actually super, super rude. Liko doesn't let this deter her though. She's going to keep talking. She's going to keep telling, or she's going to tell Dot that Nido Thing has been a huge inspiration on her. Her life has changed since she discovered Nido Thing. And it's really just a beautiful thing. She's grown to love Pokemon more. She's grown more confident in herself. And you can sort of feel that there's a little bit of a bond building between these two. They're going to be friends. Nido Thing is 100% going to come out of her, Dot is going to come out of her shell and they're going to become friends. We then hear one of the most personally relatable lines I've ever heard in any form of TV show. And keep in mind, I'm 30 years old, man. Most of my adult interactions, or most of my interactions outside of work and outside of my children, it's with you guys while we're streaming or in Discord. So this line that Dot shouts out to Liko, and I'm going to look off screen because I want to get it right. It was, IRL relationships are inefficient and a waste of time. Bruh, that hits home. That hits home. They are inefficient. I don't say they're a waste of time. I've got a lot of really good friends that aren't online friends, but I can't argue with the efficiency of having friends online. It doesn't matter where in the world you are, we're connected, man. I love it. After admitting defeat, though, Liko leaves Dot's room. She leaves the corridor, and we cut to Roy and Freed. They're in the marketplace on this unnamed town, searching for a food list, or an ingredients list, or just a shopping list, rather. Molly, the girl with pink hair and the sports jacket, probably the nurse or the doctor, she sent everyone a shopping list and she's like, no frivolous buying. We don't have a lot of money. Our budget is really tight this month. No frivolous. Just follow the shopping list and that is it. We come across someone who is very reminiscent of the Magikarp salesman from the original Pokemon series. The one who sold James his Magikarp, who he very foolishly kicked into the river, the ocean after the SS Anne went down. And James, you idiot, because the second you kicked that Magikarp into the water, it evolved into a Gyarados. Could you imagine how much more menacing Team Rocket would have been if James had a Gyarados? I don't understand why he didn't just recall it. Maybe he lost the Pokeball, but it was pretty crazy, man. Super crazy. This guy isn't as iconic looking. He just feels sleazy like the Magikarp salesman. And he's got a Spoink and a Clamperl. And the reason is because they both got Pearl. Spoink's got the Pearl on its head. Clamperl has got the Pearl because it's a Clamperl. And he's trying to sell like a microfiber cloth. And he's like, this thing will make anything shine nice and bright. And he tries to sell it to Roy. And Freed's like, no frivolous spending. Molly will kick our butt. And Roy's like, wait, hold on, that's fine. But let me just ask you, like, sir, do you know anything about Rayquaza? Have you seen one recently? And he's like, oh, maybe I do. Maybe I do. If only I could sell this microfiber cloth, maybe my memory would be jolted. And Freed's like, we're getting out of here. I'm not getting taken by this dude. And they go to walk off, and this man's like, you mean the black Rayquaza, don't you? And they're like, oh, you got him. They got him at this point. And the old man's like, yeah, a young man with a serious attitude problem, and 2 of his attendants came by recently asking about him. Probably a Methio, Konya, and Zer. But it might not be, because they could be whoever they've passed it on. I don't remember his name. I remember it in like last episode or the episode before, but I don't remember. I'll have to try to. But it was the guy that Amethio was having beef with. I guess we'll wait to see. But after Freed hears that, he's like, damn it. Tell me about those people. And the old man's like, oh, if you buy the cloth. So he buys the cloth, and he knew nothing. Which is, Freed doesn't take me as someone who's just going to get taken and screwed with. So I'm surprised he didn't just take his money back. Like forcibly take his money back. Because he could. I can't remember. He might not have had any Pokemon with him, but Freed could have physically overpowered this man. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe he's just too much of a nice person. We cut back to the Bravasagi, and Liko is on the ship waiting for the stream to begin. Unfortunately, Liko made Nidothing late. When she was talking to her before, Nidothing's like, oh crap, I'm meant to be live right now. So there was a little bit of a delay. Maybe that'll hamper their budding friendship, their blossoming friendship, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. The stream starts very shortly after, and it's, like I said, just a Q&A. They don't do them a lot, or she doesn't do streams very often. But the second question she actually gets asked is by a Nyauha superfan. Of course, it's Liko. And the question is, there's this girl I'm trying to befriend, but she doesn't want anything to do with me, and she never comes out of our room. How do I do it? Dot or Nidothing instantly realize who it is. They get a little bit thrown. Liko screams because her question just got read on air, and that causes a bit of a commotion in Nidothing's studio. She tries to cover by being like, haha, what I just demonstrated? That is because it's like a Pokemon battle. Change your scenarios, change your scenery, do what you need to do. And for some reason, Liko's like, yeah, it is like a Pokemon battle. Dot's Quaxley, or the Bravasagi's Quaxley? Man, that duck knows what's up. That duck's like, man, you ain't fooling no one. You were thrown. You're talking at your butt right now. But she tried. That's what's important, is she tried. We jump back to Roy and Freed. They're leaving. They're not happy. They lost their money. They got the cloth at least. They do at least have a very nice microfiber cloth. But Roy gets jumped by a Spearow, a wild Spearow, and decides that now is a great time to have the battle and experience what a wild Pokemon battle would be like, and to show off all of the skills he's made in the last few days, weeks, however long it's been since they've left his also unnamed island village. After a very quick and brutal peck by the Spearow, Hogator takes that with a single ember to the chest. It was no issue whatsoever. Back on the ship, Roy tries to tell Liko about the battle and everything that happened, and of course she was a little bit impressed because, you know what, she's a young, impressionable trainer and she's happy for her friends. He was telling her as they were approaching Dot's room. Roy just wanted to say thank you for the information. Remember in the last episode, she provided him a map of the Paldea region with Rayquaza, which is why they know they need to go to Paldea to find it. And she didn't respond. She just didn't respond. She's actually pretty rude. She's not rude. I think she's just shy. She's a super introvert. But after then, Roy's like, let's have a battle. And they actually decide to battle right there in front of Dot's door. So they're getting ready, and Dot shuts that down so fast. So after she did shut it down though, she started to talk to them. She actually started to open up a little bit of a dialogue. The door's still closed. They've got no idea what she looks like, but she is just telling them to go away, to stop doing that here. And she sort of goes on a little bit to discuss the information she's interested in, which is strangely enough, ancient Pokeballs with mystery Pokemon inside of them, strange mysteries around the world, and other things, which is weird. You would think that being interested in those sort of Poke mysteries, she would be all over Liko and Roy because of the ancient Pokeball and the baby Terrapagos pendant. Right? That just doesn't make sense to me. But again, super introvert, maybe she's just not comfortable around people, and that's completely fine. We get to the second last scene of the episode, and we're back again with skulking around Freed and Murdoch and Captain Pikachu in the middle of the night. They are going back to their secret donut cupboard. And we find out the truth. And we finally see Freed and Murdoch weren't stealing or trying to take all of the donuts. What they were doing, Murdoch was trying to get Dot to actually eat some real food. He didn't like that she was trying to survive on gummies and like nutrient bars. He wanted to make her something she's going to come out of her room to eat. And she did. She came out, she actually got some food, no one saw her, but it was a really heartwarming moment. It's just, she's warming up to the crew, she's warming up to everyone. I like it. It's really, really great to see. It's a small scene, but it's a nice one. The next morning, we've got Captain Pikachu and Freed asleep in the bridge or on the bridge until Captain wakes up Freed because in the distance, where are we? What do we see? We're at Paldea, baby. And that's it. Looks like next episode, we're landing in Paldea. Whether that means next episode we meet Liko's parents or her grandparents, I don't know. Maybe we get dropped off in Masagoza and we go and see, maybe we go see Professor Turo or Sada, depending on what timeline this is taking place in. Maybe we go straight to Area 0. I don't think we're going to go straight to Area 0, but that would be really cool. Guys, a relatively short episode, but a fun episode. Let me know what you thought of this one down in the comments below. Let me know who your favorite character currently is. Mine is, look, I love Orla. I really like Liko. She is a great protagonist. She might actually be my new favorite character. So let me know yours and why down below. Guys, have a fantastic day. I love you all.